Get ready to save with Spectrum One. You get Spectrum Internet delivering fast and reliable speeds for $49.99 a month, free advanced Wi-Fi for enhanced privacy and security, and a free Spectrum mobile line with unlimited talk, text, and
2. Check. Thing work. Audio is quite annoying today. Trying to set up a quick monitor. And I'm monitoring. Hello? Hello? There we go. Something about this is not right. Check 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. Oh. Sorry about all the noise. Okay. I think that does it. All right. Sorry for all the super professional hubbub here. Let me just get rid of the random thing on top, and then we can go ahead and get started. Overlay elements. Okay, that's gone. And hello. Welcome. Once again, I am Josh, also known as Cpgeek, and for the past, I don't know, couple of weeks at least, I've been planning out a new proxmox cluster in order to do some home labbing and some home prod for things like website hosting and game server hosting and all of that. If you're new here, I do a whole bunch of all sorts of nerdy things, really. Computer building, building 3D printers. I'm actually in the middle of a series as well for building a Voron V0 3D printer. I built my Voron V2 on stream. I built the workstation that's streaming this on stream. 3 times, if I recall correctly, as I keep switching things up, water cooling, air cooling, video card upgrades, going through various gaming stuff, from virtual reality gaming to retro gaming. I built a arcade cabinet on stream. Yeah, so if you're down for all the nerdy things, go ahead and follow. If you're watching this on Twitch, following is free. If you're on YouTube, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Subscribing is not free on Twitch. That's a different thing. But if you want to subscribe to me on Twitch, please do so as well. Anyhow, today is all about unboxing the first set of stuff to come in for that proxmox cluster project, including the computers themselves, the network switch that's going to run things, and the first upgrade that I'm doing to these machines. So without further ado, let me just switch over to my B camera, which I think should work just fine. B plus B, nope, it's B plus A. There we go. So there's my cable with the first box, which is going to be the network switch. Figured we would start there just to get that out of the way. Sorry about my messy lab. It's usually in such a state. Just move my microphone over a little bit. Sorry to block the shot. I'm just trying to make it so that you can actually hear me as I unbox the things here on the table. Let's see how this is going to work out. Pull the table closer to me and move that down just a tad. Yeah, that works. So I went ahead and taped over some of the stuff. There we go. That could possibly dox me. I hope that that doesn't come up, but hope anybody watching is going to be, kind enough to honor my privacy. I hope. Anyway, this is a big box because it is a big switch. I'm just trying to find out where it's taped. Ah, I see. So it's designed to be opened from this side. I don't really like the way that they taped this up. I would have gone all the way around it with some packing tape, especially as this was going across the country. But it appears to have arrived in one piece. So let's see about unboxing here. All right. Okay. So this is definitely a used product that I purchased. This was an eBay acquisition. So this is an enterprise class Netgear switch. There it is in its partial glory. Oh, it's upside down. Not so great. Okay. There we go. Now, the first thing I noticed is that it does not come with the rack ears, which it does come with the rack. Maybe? Serial programming cable. Okay, it does come with rack ears. Excellent. So, I guess they put everything in here. Oh, I guess it was just never used in a rack, or at least the programming cable was never used. They may have just detached the rack ears for shipping. Yes, that's exactly what happened. I can see that these rack ears are used, which is fine. There's nothing that prevents me from doing that. They just happen to unscrew them from the unit itself. You can see it's a little scratched up. You can see where the rack screws went in initially. So these were attached at one point or another. They just took them off for shipping, which was a good plan because this stuff seems to fit perfectly. All of the various accessories from the factory are included. Looks like this was very lightly used by someone doing enterprise operations, which is just fine by me. Something that's physically gently used is going to be a lot better than otherwise. Let me pop this open. Looks like it says some tape on it. Oh wow, an anti-static bag that's Ziploc. I've never seen something so large before. That's a large Ziploc anti-static bag. That's nice. So we'll go ahead and pop this out of its bag here. So I do see some scratches, which is consistent with having been mounted in a rack. So we'll see a little bit of that. Let me refocus here. There we go. So you can see a little bit of the scratches there. Camera will adjust in a couple of seconds. It'll pop out. I just have it configured to have the focus pop here. There we go. So you can see a little bit of scratching. Again, consistent with being mounted in a rack. I'm not super worried about aesthetics, aside from maybe the front of the thing. There's a little mark. But otherwise, I mean, I'm nitpicking here. Everything appears to be in great condition. I'm just going to take a quick look down the ports to make sure everything is good. I'm going to put on my, take these off for a minute. Put on my magnifiers here. Magnifying headset. I just want to take a quick look at all the pins to make sure that there isn't any sort of damage to any of the network interfaces. That's the important part on this. I just like to be extra sure for inspection purposes before I start to plug anything into this kind of stuff. Everything appears to be in perfect order. Just peering down these SFP interfaces. Things do look a little dusty. I think I might 3D print some covers for the SFP Plus interfaces because I don't really intend to use those anytime soon. And there is a USB interface on here for doing upgrades of the firmware, I imagine. Everything about this seems to be in perfect working order. Just so you are all on the same page, this is a Netgear ProSafe XS728T. This is a 28 port switch, so 24 ports of 10G based T connection and also 4 SFP plus ports. So each one of these is a 10 gigabit standard Ethernet connection. The NIC adapters that I'm using are all 10 gigabit as well. One of the downsides of this particular switch is that it only does 10 gig and 1 gig connections, which means that if I plug this directly into my router, which is a 2.5 gig NIC router, it will negotiate at 1 gig and not give me full bandwidth. I have another 10 gigabit switch, 10G base T, downstairs where I have my server set up. So I'm going to uplink to that. I'm going to use 2 ports as a lag interface so that I have 20 gigabits to the next switch, and that is more than enough for any of this setup. So that'll work for both failover as well as for redundancy of packet transfer. That'll work great. And yeah, that's pretty much the long and short of this switch. Again, a few scratches on top, nothing to be worried about. Some fingerprints, in fact, that might even be mine. I'm not super worried, but this will look great in a network switch. This will work great in a network rack, which I will probably be doing at some point soon, but I do not currently have a rack yet. I'm planning on just sort of resting this on top of the computers that I'm going to roll out. We'll see what happens there. I do see a packing list here. I'm going to pop this open real quick off camera, just so I don't dox myself here, and take a quick look at what they have. 24 port 10G copper T switch, 4 port 10 gig SFP plus switch. Has the serial number and all of my contact information and their contact information logged. It's a pretty standard packing list, so you're not missing anything by not seeing that. They do say that they guarantee this thing. I believe it's for either 60 or 90 days, if I'm not mistaken. So if stuff does happen, if this doesn't work, then they'll go ahead and take it back from me. So I am going to hang on to all of this packing material for at least that duration, just to make sure everything goes well. They very explicitly did not test this switch, so I may run into some difficulties along the way. In fact, while we're here, I'm going to go ahead and put all the packing materials and the rack ears that I'm not going to mount just yet back in the box, but not the switch. So let's maneuver packing here so that the box can go back together properly. And set the switch on the table. There we go. Close this up. Oh, this goes on the outside. I see. Or did I have it backwards? No, it goes on the inside. I had it backwards. There we go. So I'll put this switch up here, and I just want to power it on real quick, make sure it boots. I'm not actually going to attach it to my network just yet. There will likely be several follow-up streams to this one with regards to actually configuring this equipment so that it can be used properly. Just currently fumbling for a power cable, which I know I have a couple of here. Here we are. And okay, so power goes in the back. That makes sense. Power. All right, we've got power. And I just want to see this thing up. So it is a little on the loud side as far as
while it's being powered, I'm testing the fan just by putting my hands in front of them here. There are 4 really big fans inside of this that can be kind of loudish depending on the condition of the fans and the switch. I'm going to put my ears next to them just to make sure they're not rattling or anything. Alright, so there's some mild ball bearing noise. That's not a problem. Oh, I see that there's a light on one of the ports here. Come on. I keep hitting the focusing ring. Sorry about that. Come on. There we go. So there is one of the lights on. Oh, it went off. Okay. Fans do sound kind of grindy. I'm really hoping that it quiets down after a minute or so. Well, the power light went green. So I think that means this thing is online, which is unfortunate because it actually is pretty darn loud. That could be a problem. You guys probably don't hear it in the microphone because I am running noise reduction. But that's something I'm going to have to deal with. Well, I'm going to go ahead and put the switch on the back side of the table here, and hopefully it'll calm down while I have it here plugged in. Because otherwise, that's going to be an issue. Because the placement for that switch is going to be in an area where people are watching TV. So it's possible that there might be like a bad fan that I need to replace, or maybe that I can slow down in firmware. I don't know. I'll have to check it out. Meanwhile, let me go ahead and leave this box temporarily. And hold this back. And move on to the next box. So these next 2 boxes are one shipment, and these are going to be the computers themselves. They're all the same. I'll go ahead and unbox them and dive in and see what needs to be cleaned up or maintained. I don't know exactly what state they're in. So this will be kind of a surprise to see what needs to happen here. Alright. So I'm going to slide the table forward so I can get at this box here. Sorry, crossing in front of the camera. Alright. So, I've done nothing to this box other than tape over my name and address. And you'll note that there's this big old issue with this box. It looks like it has been impacted. I'm really hoping that the computer inside has survived, but we'll see in a minute. There should be 5 small form factor machines between these 2 boxes here. I'm going to go ahead and raise this up just a bit. And let's see if I can't. Oop, that's down. Sorry about the wobbly cam. Just trying to get a better shot here. There we go. Lock that there. Go down just a tad. Cool. Alright, so this is what I'm looking at. And it looks like this is pieced together from multiple boxes. I'm not really liking that. This is not very well packaged, especially for something as sensitive as computers. Let's just go ahead and pop open the top here. I always lift the flaps that I'm cutting just to make sure I don't cut into any products below. Good unboxing technique. Alright, so inside we have some Instapack, which is usually a good deal. Not a bad way to do stuff like this. I'm just going to need those for a moment. I'm going to take these computers off the box no matter what anyway. So there's that. Okay, I've only removed 2 pieces of packing, and I'm already seeing something that I don't like. I don't know how visible this is on camera. I'm going to lean the box here so you can see that. So this computer in the middle here does have some damage. It looks like it was impacted on the top, and looks like there's some issues there. Need some more of these. Now these are used, so I don't expect them to be in perfect order. I don't mind if they're like scratched or whatever, but impact damage like that definitely causes me a little bit of a issue there. This is just a hardware report, not a packing list. So here we have Dell Incorporated desktop. These are Dell optiplex 3060's. Serial number, asset tag. CPUs are i7 8700s at 3.2 gigahertz base. Let's see here. Memory bank 0 has an 8 gigabyte DIMM at 2666 megatransfers per second. I plan on probably removing those and upgrading to 2 32 gigabyte DIMMs. Not a problem. Total memory here is 8 gigs. It's just that one DIMM per box. The graphics chipset is UHD 630, which is just fine. These are going to be mostly used for proxmox, so web hosting stuff and other types of networking projects. Let's see. Disk is 512 gigabytes. Team SSD. Trying to figure out whether that's M.2 or SATA. Well, I guess we'll see when I dig into one of these things. And they do have optical drives, interestingly enough. I'm kind of shocked at that, because who uses optical drives on machines like this? Yeah, okay. So there's that. They do have some stickers on them from their previous inventory purposes. Okay, each machine has a separate report on them. So as I go ahead and take a look through this, I just want to verify that they are, in fact, all the same. I'm not going to bore you through all of that. Oh. Ho ho. So this one, interestingly enough, comes configured with a separate network interface card. It's only gigabit, so it's not useful for my purposes, but it's there. are like that. Nope, just this one. Okay, so this one has that. This one has a Micron SSD, so the other has a Team. So this one is a little different. Still an i7-8700, still 8 gigs of RAM. This one also has a real graphics card. This has an 8570 in its slot. I was not told that these would have graphics cards at all. None of this is bad. In fact, I basically get a free NIC and a free graphics card out of the deal, so I'm down. The rest of the specifications are pretty much identical. No problems there. I'm going to start taking these out, and I'm just going to set these on the back here. I know it's out of camera, but actually before I do that, let's take a look around the machine just to make sure. This is the front cover. This has a sticker clearly for identification purposes. There's the SSD here. Looks like the front panel's in decent shape. No problems there. No physical issues. I will go ahead and open each one of these up on stream for cleaning and upgrading at one point or another. So this is the middle one. This is the one that we have a little bit of damage on top. It's hard to get a decent angle. There you go. You can kind of see that. Not sure exactly what the deal with that is. But it does look like it's impacted. I will be testing out every single one of these because they all have to work for my proxmox cluster project. The case lock situation here is bent. So you can see that there. This is bent down. That should be straight. It's not. It is very clearly bent down. So we'll see what happens there. Looks like these were stacked, which isn't a problem. I can see the rubber footmarks from others. So I think that these were used in some sort of, either they were just stacked up for storage, or they may have been used for some sort of clustering system, as I plan on doing. Given the damage to the case, it's not terribly extensive. I'm just going to go ahead and pop this one open preemptively because I'm really curious about the inside to make sure nothing is seriously broken. So I'll pop the side panel off. These are really easy to repair. They come apart super simple. So the configuration of these machines is such that the power supply is okay. Sorry, it's the opposite end. I thought the power supply was there. So the locking system is right around the power supply. I'm hoping that the power supply is not harmed in any way. I'm not seeing any issues with the power supply, but just making sure that part is good. And there's actually nothing on the other side of this case, which is probably why it got impacted so easily. So on the inside, you can see that there's nothing in that general case area, the dent does go all the way through, but I don't think it's going to harm anything about this machine. We will definitely test that further, but we'll see how that works out. Pop that back together. The case does work. That's an aesthetic issue. I'm not super worried about it. I knew that there were aesthetic problems with these being used anyway. So that shouldn't stop me from my purposes here, so long as everything works with that unit. So I'm just going to go ahead and stack that up with its meat here. Flip that the right way so they're all in the same orientation. Alright, so last one in this box. Back panel looks good. No upgrade cards. This is the one that I read off previously, and that's fine. No visible damage. Some scratches, not a big deal. Again, these are used machines, so I'm not too super concerned. Otherwise, I think that should work. So that's the first box down. There's nothing left in the box here. Alright, this box is going to have a lot to recycle this week. And here is the second computer box. So that was 3, so this should only be 2 machines. This one does not have the double stacked box like the other one did. I think that was just done to contain 3 machines rather than 2. I still don't like the way that those were packaged, but it should be fine. And also, for all I know, that dent is probably not due to shipping damage, but due to previous damage, just in handling of these machines, and getting them to me. I'll also note that during the time of that unboxing, the network switch that we unboxed first is unfortunately still sounding just the same as it did when I first unboxed it. That's an actual problem, because it's quite loud. I might have to either take a look at the settings to see if there's a way to slow down the fans, or it's possible that I may have to look into getting better quality fans that make less noise, or that might actually be a deal breaker for that switch. So we'll see how that works. Looks like I have some chat here that I missed. Why am I seeing a pre-roll ad for the Audible original impact water? I have no idea, Sean. But thank you for coming on by. Pre-roll ads are automatically put in by Twitch. Unfortunately, I don't really have a whole lot of control over that. That's just a matter of the beast here. But thank you for coming on by now. I'll continue unboxing this stuff here.
All right, more air pack. I will meet. Okay. Oh, and it looks like I've lost my camera feed. I probably stepped on the connector. Just a moment. Yep, that's exactly what happened. Please stand by. Camera should come back online in just a second.
There we go. Camera is back. And that is the packing list. So I hope the camera was very much out of focus for that. It just says that I purchased these 3060's from a company called Securus in Chantilly, Virginia. The price that I paid was $200. I did a lot of haggling over the last few weeks. They originally wanted something like $250 if I recall correctly. Please don't quote me on that. But they dropped the price slowly. The last buy it now price was something along the lines of like $210 if I recall correctly. And I submitted multiple requests to purchase these at $200, and they finally relented. So I picked up 5 of these for $1,000 total. So they were $200 a piece. One quick second. I'm sorry, please stand by. Sorry about that. My mom had a question about this particular unboxing, so she may or may not join us in just a little bit. So let's go ahead and continue pulling these things apart, and we'll see what we got. Okay. Once again, just going around them. Looks like everything with this one is relatively good. The lock is in good condition. I'm not seeing anything wrong with the case on this. No cards installed, which is what I expected. 8700. This is the same team SSD as the other bunch, with the exception of that one particular machine. Yep, everything is the same and as expected. Cool. And last one here. Again, just going around it, making sure there's no physical damage here from shipping. Doesn't appear to be. Everything appears to be good with it. And reading down the hardware reports. First off, again, no additional cards. Same team SSD, 8 gigs of RAM, yada yada yada. Same as all of the rest of the specifications that I mentioned. Okay, so only one machine is an oddball. We got one machine with some minor damage, but the damage does not appear to impact any functionality. I don't really care about this being pretty. I bought used equipment for functionality, so I don't think that there should be anything wrong with that. The rest of this box, they did throw in the power cables. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 power cables for 5 computers. Makes sense. And yeah, everything's good. There's nothing else in their box. So we'll go ahead and set that to the side. There's the stack of machines on the table here. Let's see if I can make that. Alright, so these are 5060 small form factor Dells. I got these specifically because they are the smallest computer that I could find inexpensively that have PCIe upgrade slots. So I'm going to be tossing in a network card, very similar to this network card actually. This is a X540 Intel converged 10 gigabit network adapter. You'll note that this one has a back metal bracket that is way too long for this particular application. So they actually make metal brackets for these that are much shorter. The cards that I'm getting already have those brackets attached, and those were $30. They were listed at $35 on eBay, and I basically gave them an offer of $30 each for ordering 5 of them. So I was hoping for a bulk discount, and I basically let them know that I was using this to build a home lab for learning. And a lot of people in the technology industry are extremely sensitive to people who are interested in learning stuff, especially more advanced networking and overall management techniques and larger virtualization enterprise type gear clustering, which is precisely what I'm after here. So this is the lot that I picked up. Let's see what happens. That network switch though, I'm having a problem with it just here. If I'm having a problem with it here, then it's going to be a real problem in the TV room. So I'm going to unplug that for now, just so I don't continue having a problem with it right now. That is one of the things that I looked into. The reviews that I had read on the Switch, I did read a whole bunch of reviews before I purchased, say that the decibel rating on that was roughly, I believe it was 35, possibly 40 decibels. Whatever it was actually a smaller number than the sound of the Zyzel switch that I'm currently using. I have the Zyzel 10 gig switch already. Echo. Am I still echoing here? I was very far away from the microphone, so I do apologize for any audio degradation in that way. Let me do some quick self-monitoring. And thank you, Yanks, for pointing out quality controls issues. I do appreciate that.
And typing is hard. Man, fat fingering my own URL? How does that happen? Hey, it's me! I'm on TV! It's me! I'm on TV! What the heck was that? Oh, Wolfstan, thank you very much for the follow. Appreciate that. Let's see, going back over chat. Mom says, there you are. Yeah, absolutely. Yank's getting a bit of an echo. Yeah, Wolfstan, welcome. I just finished unboxing my new gear that is really out of focus. Let me fix that real quick. That should be good enough. Camera will bounce back in a couple of seconds. It just punches in for that. Just checking out audio right now. See how that works. Audio right now. See. Oh wow, that is pretty terrible. 1, 2, 3. Why am I echoing? Check. Check. Please stand by. Hmm. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Why can you still... It does sound like I have 2 mics hot, but I don't see anything else in OBS. Oh. Check. Hello, hello. I did it. The no sound was on purpose. I muted all of the sound within OBS Studio. 1 second, I'm speech jamming myself. Okay, there we go. Not speech jamming myself anymore. I muted all of the audio in OBS Studio, so it shouldn't be capturing anything, and yet I was still hearing audio. What that told me was that the camera that's driving this had its audio hot for some reason, and OBS was picking it up and not telling me in the audio mixer that it was being picked up. I don't know how or why that could be. That is super weird. What I did to fix it is I went into the Windows control panel for sound under sound settings. One quick second. Move that there, and desktop. All right, so there's all of my OBS stuff. So I went into the sound system settings here, went to more sound settings, got the control panel, and muted the second Camlink, which is what I'm using, interface. I just went ahead and muted its audio so that it couldn't do anything in Windows at all, period. I don't know how or why it would be captured within OBS. That sounds really, really dumb to me. But that's what was happening. Inside of OBS, if I pull up the OBS settings here under audio, I/O, I'm not using any global devices, so it shouldn't have been able to do anything. I'm using my DAC for monitoring. That's what's in my headphones here. And as far as all of the rest of the audio here, I shouldn't have been capturing anything at that point. But here we are. Sorry for all of that. And that's probably been going on since I started the stream, in which case I am really sorry. I don't think it was an OBS problem, the Wolf's Den. I think that it was a problem with Windows, although OBS would have had to have been capturing. I don't know. That's super strange. So I apologize for all of that. Crummy audio is not something that I usually stand for. I just did not hear it. So here we are. Yeah, so you know, in the future, things should be good. Learn a little bit every time you do a stream, right? Anyhow, let's switch back to our project du jour. There's the proxmox cluster, all 5 units. I guess I will go ahead and dig in and start pulling these apart and seeing what's what with them. As they are relatively simple devices, I should be able to get through that pretty quickly. And yeah, Yank says, well, much more gooder now. Absolutely. And yes, thank you for pointing that out. I definitely appreciate any quality control suggestions that you might have. I do know that my lab here is a mess. Please ignore the background. It's absolutely terrible. The table isn't here all the time either. That's kind of a makeshift area. Because my desk is not quite large enough for this size of box. Just unboxing all of these. I typically try to do as much work on my desk as possible. I have the camera aimed the other way toward the monitors, but in this particular instance, this was the best that I could do for an unboxing here in the lab. So as all of these stickers have all of the same information, I'm just going to start off the journey by removing them all. These are cheap paper stickers, so I'm trying to remove them slowly so that they all come off rather than leaving residue. I hate this type of sticker, but these are like "Hello, my name is" kind of stickers. This, again, is not for aesthetic purposes, just so I can get at the panels and whatnot. I will eventually be using my proper brother label maker to label these with the names and IP addresses that they use for all of their interface for overall management ease. So I know what they are and what IP addresses that they're supposed to have. My plan is to go ahead and make it so that these have 3 network interfaces. So there's one network interface on board, on the motherboard with all of these. And then these cards, I'm going to be using the same card with a low profile bracket. These have 2 10 gigabit ports. So there's two 10 gig ports, and then there's the onboard network port that's on these already. And the idea is to have one of the 10 gigabit network ports dedicated to the applications that this is running. So like all of the virtual machines will be tied into one of those network interfaces as a virtual switch, and they'll be able to bounce back and forth between all of these cluster machines as I need to for maintenance and whatnot. And then one of them will be dedicated to Ceph, CEPH, which is a clustered storage solution. I may not end up using Ceph in production, but I do want to try it out. I've been told that you need at least around 7 nodes in order to make Ceph performance. But how I'm using Ceph in this cluster, not as like a network attached storage solution, but as a redundancy solution and high availability solution between these machines for hot swapping VMs across them. They should make it should make a good way to utilize Ceph in a very performant way across 5 nodes. And that'll have its own dedicated 10 gigabit interface. And then the 1 gigabit interface that comes with these machines will be dedicated to the management of virtual machines. Management is going to have its own switch, and it will be the way that you log in here to a web management console and administer all the virtual machines that are running on this stack. So now that I've gotten most of that off of there, I'll go over that some isopropyl to get rid of the rest of that. Let me slide this stack back. Oh, no sliding possible. The way the cable is coded. Just grab the first one here. First one off the top. Hardware report off. The only hardware report that I actually need is the one with the extra cards in it. I am going to go ahead and end up pulling out those extra cards. I'll use those for other purposes. I don't need them as part of this stack. But let's see here. Pull the sticker off the side panel. Wish that I had a plastic scraper at my disposal, and I don't want to use like a knife or anything with these. Just taking my time going around the edges of these. This is a proper label maker, but it is again a very cheap label. There's no plastic on this label at all. You know what? I'm just gonna leave this alone for now. I'll concentrate more on the tech and do the scraping off camera. Welcome, Eric, for playing the and thank you for playing the I'm a computer, stop all the downloading. So move this over here so I can monitor chat just a little easier. Eric says howdy all. Howdy, Eric. How you doing? Missed you last night. Sorry about all of the bad luck with the flooding and the cancellation of your shows. That really sucks. But I hope that you have some good luck moving forward with that. So just pop the lid off. There's just a little lever here. Very easy to work on these machines. They're not hard whatsoever. Looking inside, what I get here is pretty much dust free, which I'm rather surprised about. Given these have been in operation for a little while, they include a SATA drive caddy. These probably originally had hard drives as well. The hard drives were not included in this deal just because they were gotten rid of by the people that recycled. I know that the switch works. Put this out. I don't remember. It's been a while since I worked on one of these. Alright, so that's the unlocked position. And this should lift out. How do you work? You shift that way, no? That goes back and forth like that, and that's the locked way. I'm just trying to remember how to appropriately remove these. I mean, I could look it up, but it seems really silly. It has to go up. Oh, I see. This is just for the CD-ROM drive, and it pushes that way. This does lift out, but it might be only for the... Okay, so the CD-ROM drive can pop out like that. It does that. Oh, okay, so this is an M.2 SSD. Well, that's pretty sad then. Because one of the things that I did end up getting is a bunch of M.2 SSDs. These are 2 terabyte drives. So they're quite a bit bigger than what was installed here. But I had assumed that there were SATA drives in here. Awesome. Oh, okay. I see the way this is done. You have to remove the front panel before you can pop this free. Got it. Then this whole thing comes off. And that's just the connections for the power data for the optical drive. Okay. So looking further in here, everything is super clean. I'm really shocked how clean this stuff is. But I do wish that these M.2 drives were instead serial ATA drives. That would have made things a whole lot better. The reason why is there is only one M.2 port here. So there's really no way to easily add another. And so I will have to remove these 512 drives in order to install the 2 terabyte drives. That's that sucks a little bit because it means that I'm just going to end up wasting these 512 gigabyte M.2 drives. More than likely end up reselling them, which is annoying because I am terrible at reselling stuff. The reason I'm terrible at reselling stuff is just putting things in boxes and actually putting them for sale on eBay and then sending them out afterward and doing that whole jazz. Eric says, went on the roof of the theater today to install the cell booster I bought. It didn't fall off, so I consider that a success. That's awesome, Eric. You do know when you climb up to the roof, you're supposed to tether, right? With a harness. Please don't die. Mom says, hope you're resting after a very stressful week. Eric says, taking it easy for tonight for sure. Awesome. You have a family member in Vermont, right? Is she okay? Well, I'm sure we'll hear back from that conversation in a minute. Meanwhile, continuing on this thing. Oh. I was wrong. I do see another M.2 slot here. Oh, it's M key. So M.2 M key is for things like a wireless card and whatnot. You can't easily use it for a serial or an SSD. And just to check fitment, I'm going to go ahead and pull the bracket this card, make sure that it'll fit in this unit, because otherwise I bought a whole bunch of stuff that I can't use, and I hope that that's not the case. So I'm just removing the screws that hold down the bracket here. Not the appropriate screwdriver for this. See if I can grab one here. There we are. Okay. Go. Bracket pops off. And stand this guy up. So this should slot in right here. Comes off, slots in here. And there we are. Now, one of the problems that I see right away is that there's zero airflow going over this card. So there's the Ethernet card that I just installed. There's no airflow going through there whatsoever, and there's no chance of air escaping from that. So there is this fan slot here on the front of the case, right here. So I think that it might be a good idea for me to install fans there. Mine will have a proper bracket on there, so that part won't be a problem. But yeah, not great. I probably should have powered this thing on before I started breaking it down, but kind of say la vie. I don't really think that I should have any problems with this. Everything is super clean. There's a bunch of dust on the power supply, but that's not really a bother for me. Everything inside appears to be very well kept. Let's go ahead and see what we can do about powering this thing on. Put this back. Come on. Getting hung up on. Are you not going in there? Whoop. Oh, okay, they go in the holes first, and then they can slide down. There we go. That's in there proper. All right, what kind of video ports do we have here? Ooh, unfortunately, the video ports that are available on this are DisplayPort, which is kind of annoying. Might need to borrow a, or buy, honestly, they're cheap, DisplayPort to probably HDMI adapter. I think that will make the most sense. Just checking chat for a second. Sorry about going quiet. Put that back where it was. A little bit of dust on the front covers. I might just go over this with a vacuum cleaning at some point. That's not a today problem. But it looks like everything is in decent condition. Although, like I said, I'm not sure if I actually have a way to plug this into a display right now, which is needed in order to get an operating system up and running on it. I don't have anything that's DisplayPort. At least I don't think so. Well, we'll see in a minute. All right, next machine. I'm not going to pull this one all apart. I just want to see what it's all about here. Still looking very clean. Good with it. Another thing that came to mind is that I am most likely going to end up having to install Windows on these, at least at first. And the reason for that is get BIOS upgrades on these, so they're running the latest versions of the BIOS. Again, I'm just looking for any sort of problems or breakages or anything along those lines. I know I didn't pop that one apart. I'm being relatively inconsistent here, which may give tech-savvy folks a little OCD issues, that I'm not being extremely thorough here. But I'm really just giving these a quick once-over. If they don't give me any major problems, then that's that. And one of the reasons I'm not being terribly thorough is because I am going to have to take these all apart in order to install those SSDs and the network adapters for these anyhow. So yeah, that's kind of long and short. This is definitely going to be a process. I don't know how much of it I will do on camera. It depends on how much people want to see. Again, very clean. Why isn't that coming up? Oh, there we go. Okay, so these are all the same. Everything is the same except for one unit, which is the unit that's coming up next. I'm interested in what it has to say for itself. The one that was slightly damaged, and the case doesn't go back quite as easily as I would like, just due to the damage to the locking mechanism here. But I mean, it's fine. There's nothing internally that's messed up or anything. This is quite possibly the interesting one. This has been worked in. Looking inside here, you have these two cards. One of them is a PCIe USB card. It looks like it's a by 2 card, just given the number of pins that are in the slot. So it's a USB upgrade. It's a teeny tiny card too. Look at how small that is. That is super small. Only a few pins there. So yeah, it's either a 1x or a 2x card. I can't tell really. It's labeled in handwritten font span core, which I'm guessing that means that this was being used as a router. Yeah, but this is the tiniest network, or sorry, not USB card. I apologize, network card. This is the tiniest network card that I have ever seen. That's in a PCIe form factor. That is super tiny network card. It's 1 gig card, so it's relatively useless to me. I'll keep it for my bag of tricks, because that could be a virtual debugging tool for a machine that might have a messed up Ethernet device. But we'll see what happens. Everlasting Media has followed me. Thank you very much, Everlasting Media. Always good to see new folks around. Hopefully you enjoy content like this. If so, please do let me know. The Wolf's Den is asking, throwing second sticks of RAM in those as well? Yes and no. I am going to be installing 2 32 gigabyte sticks per machine, one in each of its memory channels. So there's 4 slots in each of these, 2 channels. So I'll definitely be doing a memory upgrade on these. Each node is going to get 64 gigs of RAM, and I'm planning on actually pulling all of those 8 gigabyte modules. And the reason behind that is so that the memory channels are balanced. If I leave the 8 gig sticks, they'll all degrade to the lower speed of that stick. It's also possible that because of the speed differences, it could lead to some minor instability issues that I just don't want to deal with. 64 gigabytes is enough for these, so I'm just going to go ahead and pull all those 8 gig sticks. I might actually combine them. No, that doesn't make sense, because 8x4 is 32, not 64. I can't math, but I came to that conclusion on my own, so awesome. Everlasting Media coming from Loyal Moses Discord. Awesome. Well, thank you for checking my stream out. Always good to see new folks around. And Loyal Moses is pretty darn awesome. While I'm interacting with the chat, let's just give a quick shout out to Loyal Moses, who is an awesome creator and does a whole bunch of 3D printing stuff on stream. I think I'm spelling that right. I hope. Yes. So Loyal Moses also does a whole bunch of like giveaway content. He does a whole bunch of like helmet printing, 3D printing stuff, machine reviews, tips, tricks, help you get your stuff straight. So definitely a good way to go. Also, we were here talking with Eric the Red earlier, who is probably still around, I think. And Eric the Red is also a creator. He's a variety streamer, plays lots of games, does music streams, Does a lot of just chatting streams, very entertaining. He has a whole bunch of character acting that he does on stream, which is super fun when that happens. He's just an overall great guy. I've known him for years. So if you're not following over there, please go ahead and give him a follow. He streams Tuesdays and Fridays typically, usually starting around 8 p.m. Eastern, although that can vary here and there. He's a really cool guy to know. Like I said, I've known him for years. He's a good friend of mine. So go on over there, give him a follow. Following is free, and as the water raises, as does all of the ships. Many thanks. Yeah, absolutely, Eric. I wouldn't be streaming right now if it weren't for Eric's pushing here and there. Just watching him do what he does really, really well has definitely inspired me to continue streaming on a regular basis, or a semi-regular basis. Not nearly as regular as I should be, but here we go. I'm streaming right now, so yeah, awesome. All right, so that basically brings us through most of these. So I pulled out the network card in this, getting back to the project at hand. That video card is also dual DisplayPort. Okay. Which means that it's, no more or less useful as the DisplayPort there. I was thinking about leaving it, but because I need that slot for the network card, dual 10 gigabit network cards, 20 gigabits a second, is really going to use all of those 8 lanes of PCIe. So I can't do both, and if I have to choose, I got to go with the 10 gigabit network card for this application. I might actually, one of the things that this might actually work well for is I might actually put this card in my network attached storage, my NAS, and use it for possibly transcoding in Plex. I'm not sure exactly what this card is right now. Actually, I think it mentioned it on the sheet that I pulled off. One moment. Okay. Yep, that's the one that mentions Ethernet. Is there a thing for what? No, that's not the right one. It's not that paper. But the paper done flew away. Let me see if I can determine from the markings on this thing what graphics card it is. I have a part number. Let me do a quick Google search, see if I can find what this part number goes to. The part number is very tiny, difficult to read. Let me put on my spectacles here. This is an E32 dash 0405360 dash November 41. And this is a Radeon R5 430. What the heck is a Radeon 430? I don't know. R5 430. Launched 2016. So this is a pirate, no, an Arctic Islands GPU. Oh, it's right before Polaris. It's GCN1. So like just after the 47s. No, that's performance. Yeah, it's a derpy little GPU. That's all there is to it, really. It would be useful for, like, if I wanted to turn one of these into a digital signage system and I needed 4 outputs, just to do something like that. I can think of better ways to go than that, though, if I needed just GPU outputs. Also, looking at this card, only the first set of pins are actually here. The rest of this 16 by PCIe slot is completely blank. So this is an 8X card. Yeah, I could stick it in the 4X slot and it would probably work, but I don't really want to, so I'm just gonna leave that out.
Bruh.
Ah, that was super loud. I had a similar card to that. I had an R7 240, says Eric the Red. Yeah. I mean, this is right before Polaris. I'm looking at the tech power up right up here right now. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's not a performant GPU by any means. 50 watt TDP. It's designed to be a really low wattage, quick and dirty workstation card for people who need like fast web browsing and maybe entry level, like minor gaming / maybe a little bit of video editing that's unaccelerated mostly. It's a 2 GB memory card. Runs GDDR5. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just not something that I would want to use for games. Everlasting Media says, just converted my old main PC into an XCPNG host. Just started learning how bare metal works. Awesome. XCPNG is basically a direct competitor to Proxmox or VMware, which is Proxmox is what I plan on running on these machines. So the basic gist is that you install Proxmox on all 5 machines. And then you cluster them together, which basically just for management purposes ties them together so that you can move virtual machines between the various nodes. And I'm actually going to be doing this as a hyperconverged cluster, so I'm going to be running Ceph, which handles storage between these and manages the redundancy of storage between these. So if one node goes down, the rest of the nodes contain all of the same storage information that this one node has. It's kind of like RAID for multiple computers. You can kind of think of it like that. And you can change what the redundancy level is too. So you could have it in this stack of 5 machines, for example. I could have 2 nodes of redundancy, so that if any 2 nodes go down, the rest of the machine has the same information stored as one machine. Or I could even stripe it so that all of these machines contain all of the same information, and any bit that's changed will basically be on all of the various machines. That's just very storage intensive though, and also very network intensive, because Gluster moves data around via a 10 gig interface, which is why, not Gluster, I apologize, Ceph, which is why Ceph has a dedicated interface, and why I'm going with dual 10 gig network cards. Oh, definitely. I have a file cabinet full of old ass LP GPUs in the office. Yeah, absolutely. So that's the long and short, inside and out of my new unboxing. Oh, there is the hardware report I was looking for. It's on the side panel of the case. How about that? It could have told me that the graphics chipset it says is... I mean, I just learned what it is, but graphics card 630, graphics card AMD Poland. Oh, okay, so HD 8570 / R5 430 OEM. So it's an 8570. or 520 or OEM. Oh, okay, they're just telling me the drivers, and they're using the same drivers as anything else. But that part number that I looked up very specifically points to an R5 430. So that's what this is, this graphics card. So it'll go in the drawer, and I will probably find a use for it at some point. So next step, now that I have explored the hardware, is to go ahead and plug this on in and see if any of them explode or let the magic smoke out. Now, as these are used machines, and I didn't see any sort of water damage or any sort of major physical damage, I don't really expect there to be any problem. They'll just power on and I'll be able to use them. They should be relatively reliable. But as it's a cluster, once it's all put together, if one of them ends up being unreliable, I can simply detach it from the cluster and replace it with whatever when I see fit. Also, these particular machines, the optiplex, what are these? 5060's, that. So optiplex 5060's are incredibly easy to get. Dell shipped billions of these to big industry for use as lightweight desktop machine. This is what you'll find on people's desks who do light office work. So Microsoft Word, spreadsheet mavens, people who are browsing the internet as part of their job. This is what you'll find in a lot of businesses. So a lot of businesses are starting to offload these. There's a ton of them in the eBay pipelines and the recycler pipelines. So they're very easy to get. If something goes wrong, I can just buy another one for around $200. $200 is not a lot of money, or a lot of money depending on what we're talking about. But in this particular instance, for a small, relatively lightweight machine, that's really not a big deal. Also, you might note that these can be put both in desktop orientation, laying down. They've got feet on the bottom of them. That's the way that I have been laying them. They also have feet on the side here, so they can be put in upright orientation, which is probably how I'm going to end up treating these, just due to the space that I have available. They'll go side by side, and then I will more than likely rest the Switch on top of them. This table isn't exactly level and flat, but just to show you how that's going to work, this will make it easier for my testing in just a minute when I go ahead and plug this in, so I don't mind doing this. So overall, this has been a pretty successful unboxing so far. Oh, I gotta put that panel on correctly, but I'll take care of that later. Pull these off the table. This table's gotta go away later. Anyway, so this has been a reasonably successful unboxing. Very minor hardware damage on only one unit. Otherwise, everything is in very good state. That's still kind of big. I'm not sure if I have enough space. Definitely have space for 4. I'd originally wanted 3 machines when I set out to do this, and that would have been fine. But I had to go the full 9 and end up with 5. All right, so here is the Switch. That is more or less how this cluster is gonna look when it's set up downstairs. Of course, I'll have all the cables coming from the back here. I am probably going to 3D print stick-on bracket for the top of the Switch. Let's move that up just a bit and zoom out just a tad. There we go. So I'm probably going to end up 3D printing a stick-on bracket that I will use some 3M adhesive non-marring stuff to manage cables. So all the cables will go through a loop that I have right here, and that will then break out into the various network ports that I have here. The other switch is going to go right on top of this one. It's designed for network rack mounting, so it's exactly the same form factor. It's 19-inch, so that'll go here, and I'll be able to run all of the networking stuff through this. So the sound, Mom asks, oh, Eric says nice, looking good. Everlasting Media says looks pretty rad. Everlasting Media says, how's the decibels? TPU sound dampeners? So the sound from the computers is not going to be very much at all. I got these pretty specifically because I did not want 1U/2U servers that make a whole lot of noise, which they are famous for. I'm sorry, I'm just fumbling for that power cable again. Got it? So I went with these optiplexes specifically because they are whisper quiet. I can barely hear them if I'm paying attention to them when I'm right next to them. Especially optiplexes with SSDs. These 5060 units are extremely quiet. I have the memory of a jet engine spooling up. Memory of a jet engine spooling up on optiplexes? The switch is loud, and I do need to address that. I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing about that. I do need to do something about that. I might end up either returning this and getting a different switch, or looking into some sort of fan mount changes, possibly TPU fan mounts, possibly changing out the fans for Noctuas. Those are both possible choices. I'm not sure. The optiplexes themselves, though, should be super quiet. And I'm just going to go along and power each one on in sequence. I'm not going to power them together right now, mostly because I will need to swap out the SSDs and the network cards when the network cards show up in a few days, and install RAM in these. So I'm not going to start down the path of installing the cluster stuff, but I just went and put the power plug into there, switched it on, and I honestly cannot hear it over my air conditioner. It is on. I feel the a little bit of airflow coming out of the backside of the computer. And I honestly can't hear it at all. It's exactly the way it should be. So it's this optiplex that's powered on, this first one here. No noise. I do have an air conditioner in the corner, so it's taking up a lot of the noise floor in here, but it's nothing. Unplug that, plug the other one in, turn it on. That's not powering up. That's not a good sign. Let me remove the switch. I think what happened is the front panel isn't attached properly. That was my fault. I was not as careful as I needed to be when I reattached the front here. Come on. I'll get it eventually. I use these stupid little clips. Okay. Oh. The drive isn't fully seated. There we go. Always learning. All right, so now that that's taken care of, let's plug this in. Hit the power button. Oh, powered on all on its own. Switch works, power's on. And again, whisper quiet. Feel the air come through, but very, very quiet operation. Cool. Third button here. There we go. Had some minor turning on problems, but no worries. Oh, this one has a front cover that's messed up too. This is just the next one. Again, that was the me problem, not being careful about reseating that. Where are you? Oh. This is the one that has minor case damage, so it's a little bit more difficult to manipulate that cover. Power adapter doesn't go that far, so I'm just going to flip it this way, plug it in. And it powered right on up. Yep, appears to be just fine. Stupid old-fashioned CD drive. All right. And last but not least, there we go. And we got power there, and everything seems to be going well. Okay. Excuse me. It's not the coming through the mic, so we believe you. It's quiet. It wouldn't be coming through the mic anyway because I run noise reduction. Otherwise, you would hear my fairly loud air conditioner, and that sucks. But I swear that this is really quiet. This, on the other hand, is really loud, and I need to do something about that too. I'll go ahead and plug it in. It's loud, and I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Which means that it's just a straight up loud switch. I'm gonna unplug it, and then let's see if we can get inside of it to see what there is to see. But on this side, you can actually see the four tiny fans. Tiny fans make a lot of noise, usually. It's really annoying. Just go ahead and get some workspace. All right. What can be done with a loud network switch? Screws. So I've got 2 screws on either side. The cover should pop right off. Let's go ahead and do that. Hack the planet indeed. That must have came in while I had my headphones off because I was on the other side of the table. All right, so 2 screws down. And yes, this is unplugged. This does have an open power supply on the inside of it, so I will be careful not to touch any of the electronics that drive the high voltage. All right. Pop off. How do you come off? Oh, looks like I have to remove the front base screws as well. All the same screws though. Enterprise gear always has awesome repairability. So now what do we got? Got on the bottom. 2 on the bottom. Okay. Didn't think it would take so many screws to pull this apart. Front cover. Up. Going to move front panel connector. That's just for the lights. Okay, so there's the front. Should just be able to slide this back, I think. Unless there's more screws. Are there more screws? Doesn't feel like there's more screws. Where would more screws be? Just checking the bottom. Oh, there we go. It was just not pulling free. Okay. So this is the inside of a 10 gigabit enterprise switch. Note the big ass heatsink here and here. So this is going to be all of the switch chips, which generate a lot of, or take a lot of power and have to vent out all of that heat. So these are the switch chips, and this back here, if I had to guess, would be the CPU for the machine that drives the various filtering components for things like, you know, MAC address and VLANs and all of the special I/O stuff. These are what's making all of that noise. These are four. What kind of fans are these? Well, they appear to be. Are these deltas? Yeah, these are deltas. Delta is well known for having very high quality fans. Don't know if I actually want to replace these. These are PWM fans. For what it's worth, this whole block here separately is the power supply. I'm not going to touch any of that. It's not plugged in right now anyway, but these caps, especially this big one here, probably still have a lot of residual power, as well as these caps back here, because it was recently powered on. I'm not going to be messing around with any of that stuff today. As far as I know, there's nothing wrong with the switch. It's just straight up loud. So we're investigating modifications right now as far as how to make this quieter in hardware. So a couple of options that come to mind. As these are only mounted, apparently with two screws each on the bottom half, the first thing that comes to mind is adding some sort of dampening material to the bottom of the fan where it contacts the case. That will make the case less microphonic. I can also put in rubberized washers, rubber washers on the front side of these, right in here. So if I were to put maybe even both sides, a washer on the front here and a washer on the back before it reaches the fan, it would make that joint way less microphonic, so that the case would vibrate way less with the fan. I'm going to go ahead and plug this in here as it sits, being very careful not to touch the power supply when it's in operation or at all. But I'm going to go ahead and plug this in, and it's on right now. And just giving a listen. I'm also giving a feel to make sure that to see if any of these are off balance or are damaged in any way. Whoop. Camera will come back in a second. Going back through chat here, see if there's anything I missed. What kind of work are these going to be for? If you're talking about the stack of Dell optiplexes, that's going to be a 5-node proxmox cluster, and this switch is basically what's going to connect all of those together. The switch will run multiple VLANs. There's going to be 3 networks from each one of those optiplexes. So that's going to be a lot of ports, 2 10 gigabit ports per, and then I'm going to be using a separate dedicated 1 gig switch for the management network that will then uplink into the other 10 gigabit switch that I have as well. So that's going to be that. These are relatively quiet in general, loud together. I'm going to go ahead and try to unplug each one in sequence and see if the noise quiets any, because it may not need that much airflow, in all honesty. So here are the fan connectors. Oop. So these four are the 4 fan connectors for here. They're neatly cable managed in with just some adhesive cable management guides, just like these. So if I unplug one of these, this one is now, whoop, one of them is not powered. One is it? Okay, so it's this one that's not powered. That didn't do anything for my quietness. Plug that back in. It's in operation. I'll unplug the next one. That didn't do much for my quietness. Plug it back in. Plug this one. A little quieter. And what about this one? So unplugging 2 of those made it significantly quiet. My first idea for this is to try to get them to be slower in software. Slower fans are quieter fans. And if I can do that, then that would be better. They did just rev up a little bit, fill in the heat sinks just to see what the thermal output is. And it looks like this furthest heat sink here is incredibly warm. Not like super bad, but like it's pretty darn warm. This one, oh, sorry, you guys can't see. Backing up. This heatsink here is warming up, and these fans are spinning up. So I'm going to try putting this cover back on. To manage that airflow low over the area expected. Hopefully those fans will spin themselves back down in a couple of seconds as soon as that component is cool enough. At least that's the hypothesis. Wolfsten says Noctua replacements are super quiet. Doesn't sound too bad though, so it might not be worth it. The sound that you're hearing is because the audio is filtered in OBS, because I'm running an air conditioner as well as a network switch, so you're not hearing the audio. This hardware was bought used, but there doesn't appear to be anything wrong with it. It's just kind of loud, and that's normal for this kind of a switch. I did test out all of the fans just by unplugging each one, and I don't think that there's a problem with any of the fans. It's just loud fans. Switching 12 plus 10 gig connections may drive the fans more, but these are usually meant to go in closets without as good air conditioning as you may have going in the house. Having any fans unplugged or non-responsive may throw warnings up in management and may also cause the rest of the fans to rev to compensate. Yes, absolutely. This was just a quick test while it's here not being used. I was just kind of curious what the each individual fan sounds like as far as what the fan sounds like, because if there are any rattly bearings, if there's a misbalanced fan, anything that would cause an individual fan to make more noise, that's what I was looking for here, not the whole of the setup. Just a quick diagnostic. But that's really loud now. So I'm going to unplug it, hopefully reset the management in the process, and plug it back in and see if it's any quieter whatsoever, because that's the same sound as it was before. It's also possible that management is throwing an error because I don't have the front panel connected here, which is for lights and stuff. But it also is for a reset and factory defaults button. And because I don't have that plugged in right now, it just could be that management is a mess. We'll see in a couple of seconds if I can get these fans to spin down with the case on like so. I also haven't gone into the management software yet. It'll be interesting to see how that works. I don't know if this switch runs its own DHCP or not, or how the IP is assigned for management. I haven't read through the manual yet. Like I said, this just showed up. I unboxed it at the beginning of the stream, so I'm just messing around with it right now. Everlasting Media says I gotta get going, but have a fantastic stream and night. I'll check back if you're on later. Awesome. Well, thank you for coming on by. Always good to see some new faces. If you're not already, you may have seen advertisements for the Cpgeek.org Discord. I'll throw that as well in the chat if anybody is interested. I'm pretty much always there. I'm on Discord way too often. So please tell me about your projects. I'll tell you about mine. You can also see when I'm going live there. I usually post a notification. So hang out. Thanks for coming. So I expected these fans to spin down. I'm going to go ahead and attach this front panel interface here. That goes that way. Power has an amber light, which usually indicates that it's still booting, but I feel like it's had enough time to boot. So I'm going to gently reattach this front panel here. I'm going to unplug it one more time. Wait for the management to reset. Plug it on back in. And then we'll just wait for that that little amber light to switch off. Sort of see that down there. I have to find some servers I can drop. I hit my limit yesterday. There's a limit? I didn't even know that. And I'm in a ton of Discord servers. We'll give it a shot after I get some actual work done. Laters, Gators. Bye, Everlasting Media. Well, there appear to be some lights on the front of the switch that are now illuminated. We've got an amber here, an amber here. It could be that it's giving me I/O warnings or thermal warnings, or that it's simply testing out all of the switches and the ports. Who knows? I'm not sure what the boot cycle on this looks like. I did note when I had it together and powered it on before, one of the amber lights did come on for a minute or so before turning off. Amber usually indicates that the switch is still booting. I did notice that it went green the last time I had this up. Limit used to be 99 or 100. Not sure if it's still that for non-nitro. I'm at 102 currently. Wow. I don't even know how many servers that I have up. Let me take a quick look while this thing boots. Not numbered or anything. My account. Devices, connections, friend requests. I'm not sure how you tell. You can find the number in non-standard ways. Okay. Well, I'll take your word for it for now and mess around with it a little later. It does look like all of the amber lights powered off as far as the Ethernet ports go while we were taking a look at that. The amber light still has not switched off for power, however. And there is a fan LED on the front here. What it indicates, I'm not sure. But it did look relatively clean inside of there, so it was used in an environment that didn't have much dust, which is consistent with most data centers. I didn't really expect there to be any major issues. Just giving my hand here a feel. Not really feeling any differences in output. Oh, the amber light did turn green, so we are now fully booted. But it's still pretty hot. Let's pull this off again here. Whoop. Power cable is kind of stretched. Really like doing that. It's still kind of warm. There's also jumpers on this thing on the inside of it, which I'm kind of curious about. They're on the other side of this heatsink here, and I'm not really seeing any labeling for what that's for. I also see a tack switch. My best guess is that's a factory reset. There's only one of them. So I very much like this thing, but I don't know if I can keep it because of the fans. Well, I'm gonna, while it's together, I'm gonna put this back on it. Still no fan light on. That's fine.
There we go. Let's try to finagle the front panel on correctly. Well, let me grab some Ethernet, I suppose, and try to log into the switch and see if I can get a an interface. I think that's next. Do I have an extra Ethernet where I can get at it right now? I didn't think that this would be a problem. Well, let's go on over for a second and see if we can find other people that have managed to make this quieter. So this is a Netgear XS726E. Loud. Netgear switch ridiculously loud. Interesting. That's not the switch model that I entered. Must include. Did I get that wrong? It's 728. Oh. 8T. There we go. Netgear switch. Loud fans. How to silence Netgear switch. Before we start, huge warning with this mod. You are voiding your warranty. I also will not be responsible for any kind, material, physical, mental damage to you by following this tutorial. Now let's get started. What are they doing? I'm just skimming this for a moment. Switch has 4 fans, and the initial idea was to exchange them with Noctua fans. Okay, that's the one of the first ideas that I had. At first, idea was just to exchange them with Noctua NF A420 PWM fans. That didn't work. The fans just wouldn't spin up. All the PWM fans I tried didn't work on the switch. Default fans in the Netgear switch are Delta, that model number with 3 pins. Pin out of the connector is black, blue, red. I tried to rearrange the 4-pin PWM connector on the Noctua NF AX420, but that just wouldn't work. You can easily push out pins from the connector using a needle. It takes some time and practice, but it's doable. Also, I had some Noctua AF A4X10, FLX 3-pin, and Noctua NF A4X10 5-volt 3-pin fans at hand, so I decided to try these. I had to redo the pins in the connectors of the Noctua fans, and I done them in black, yellow, red order, as can be seen in the pictures below. At the first picture below, you can also see one 4-pin connector in the fan header, since I was trying to spin up the Noctua PWM fans, but in the end I gave up. So Oh, they're 3-pin. Okay. Yeah. Here's the connector sample of Noctua 3-pin rearranged to fit in the uplift shot. In the end, I replaced all 4 fans first with Noctua NF A4X10 FLX 3-pin, and then with Noctua NF A4X10 5-volt 3-pin fans for the test. They were spinning. It was a step forward, but not a huge step forward. Fans again, very loud. Temperature was high. Also, after logging into the web interface, under system information, fan status of all fans is shown as not functioning. So at the end of the day, person put a 140 millimeter fan on top of the passive coolers. So installed the Noctuas, which weren't powerful enough, and then installed a 140 on top, which spins not very fast. So brother hacked up his Switch. TLDR, this is jank, and I really want to avoid this. This is some super jank bullshit right here. Oh, that is so incredibly jank. Oh my god. Such jank. If any of you on stream hear me wanting to do this, please stop me. Now, I don't mind like 3D printing a fan bracket or adding additional appropriate sized fans to the other side of the Switch, or even if I could make a 140 millimeter Switch or 140 millimeter fan go on the inside of the Switch to add additional cooling, totally fine. This is just jank as hell. Let's see if somebody else has some better ideas. Still too loud for home use. Yeah, this Switch was originally $4,000. I'll add. It's currently available new for like $2,500. I got it for $1,100. How old is this guide? Let's see if it's dated. January 2019. So a few years old, but not that old. See, this is a serve the home thing, and it says reasonably quiet 10 gig switch. And it says that this particular switch works well in quiet, and that this person has a 16 port version. I was looking at the XS728T, which is the switch that I have. Seems to fit, just not sure it does what it needs. VLAN shrunk on lag. I have Noctua fans in my Netgear 10 gig switches, and they are silent now. Oh, let's serve the home. Oh, this is very specific. Replacement quiet fans for Netgear XS728T. Sunon fans. Those are not generally the quietest, but quieter than what's in there by like probably 10 decibels. Why would anything on Amazon show up with that search? That's dumb. $119.95 is kind of steep. Plug and play replacement fan. Well, these are Sunon maglev fans. Can't read the model, but I can probably get information about them. (27.5 to 30 dBA noise versus 41.5 dBA noise in your stock fan. I'm not beyond this. If it actually gives me reliable fan for $120 that's way quieter, that might not be a bad compromise. It's kind of expensive though. Okay, so these are Deltas. 4-pack extra cooling quiet version fans compatible for Netgear XS728 fan. Guarantee with no fan failure, no red light alarm. Those look like the Deltas that are installed. Oh, and these are completely different fans. These are Sunon maglev fans, the same maglev fans as before. $119.95 from Extra Cooling. Wanted to create a post to help anyone looking for replacement quieter fans. For the XS728 switch, while the XS716 and XS708T are easy with direct Noctua swap-ins, the XS728T is an entirely different beast. Noctua fans do not work with the XS728T due to them requiring a higher starting voltage than the switch can provide. That's interesting. They spin up for half a second and stop. Okay, that must have been the issue that other person was running into. Fans that have a lower starting version, such as the Arctic SX or S4028 6 kilo, work great. Important, the fan pin configuration of the XS728T is non-standard. If you connect a fan without swapping the pins around, you will burn it out. You must swap the pins of standard fan as follows: pin 1 ground black, pin 3 pin 2 power, pin 1 pin 3 RPM speed signal, pin 2 pin 4 PWM control. Can be ignored as it's not used here. Image of the original fan with the required pin configuration attached. So I think they said that's the original, right? Original fan with the required pin configuration. Yeah. Okay. So this is just what's there already. So looking at the Arctic fan that they specifically mention, five-pack, buy on Amazon. So that's a 5-pack. These are $35. Wait, 6K or 15K? 6K. That's what they were suggesting. All right, so that is definitely an option. I'm not 100% sold, but that's definitely good advice. Let's see what other people are saying. Glad you discovered yet another switch fan replacement, which does at least reliably spin up at the low startup voltage. Here again, the proposed replacement does not even deliver half of the design expected cooling airflow. Lower max nominal RPM. Of course, this fan must be quieter then. Here the OEM Delta fan, and here the OEM AF datasheet. The never-ending dream and illusion. All right, so this person is basically saying there's not enough airflow with those Arctic fans, which kind of makes sense. I'm kind of curious if the 15K version, which spin way quicker, is a way around that. I'll have to do some additional research. I run 708T and two XS716T switches fully populated at 10G for years. Now using low airflow Noctuas and haven't had any throttling or other issues. GUI has always reported temps well within tolerances on all three units. I don't think anyone actually cares what the expected airflow is when there's no impact using so much quieter fans. All right, so this person is refuting that other person, saying that despite the low airflow, it's enough for this cooling application, and all the temps are within expected tolerances. The fans linked in my first post may well be a little underpowered for the XS728T, and now they're listing the 15K versions that I was suggesting as a possible alternative before. Okay. And this is 7/8/2023. So this is like a few days ago this conversation was happening. Really, though, probably depends on operating environment. Yeah. I don't have air conditioning where this is going, but also it's my basement, so it's relatively cool down there all year long anyway. So I don't think it would be a terrible ask to have these going. It's not data center conditions. This is not a hot box or a hot room. This is not going into a closet. Well, this is Amazon, so like I should be able to return for free, and it shouldn't be a problem. Let's take a look at the return. The item can be returned in its original configuration for a full refund or replacement within 30 days of receipt. So what this means is, so long as I don't damage or change the configuration of in any major way these fans, or return them to their original configuration, read the pin out, I should be able to test them, see if they work, see if the audible issues go away, And if they do, then awesome. And if they don't, then I can go ahead and put them back in their original configuration and return them. So that's definitely a good plan, I think. Let's see if I can find some additional information if other people have done this as well. These guys are on Newegg selling these fans for $166.87. Probably the same people who are trying to scam people on eBay. If $170 is not what fans cost for anybody following along. Yeah, nice markup. One X quiet version replacement fan for Netgear. No, that's not my Switch. Excuse me. Oh, these are related searches. So I guess the Arctic stuff is the way to go. For what it's worth, as a fan company, I have used Arctic fans in a variety of applications in the past. In fact, does this machine have Arctic fans? Yes. No, not right now. Sorry, I had been using Arctic fans for push-pull across my water cooling setup for radiators when I had a water cooling setup in this rig. I pulled my water cooling setup because I switched away from my 3090 to a 4090, which does not require water cooling, so I went back to full air cooling. That configuration better suits my workstation, and it actually keeps my CPU quite a bit cooler with the I'm using a Noctua NHD15 on my CPU, which is a 5950X, that works great with the stock cooler on my 4090 as well, and that is just a standard Asus. It's an Asus Tough card. Has a really big, thick cooler. There's no overheats or slowdowns on my 4090, and it's power limited, not it's voltage limited, not power limited. So there's no way it's going to get hotter than it is. But the Arctic fans, quiet, high speed, reliable. I've used them for years in a variety of computer applications. So definitely like the company. Delta is excellent as well, but they can be quite a bit more annoying. So these are 12 volts though. Did they say 3 volts here? Because I'm not sure what the fans are supposed to be. Where did I have that info? No, not that. I mean, they might be labeled on those. Let's see. It doesn't say. So they're using 5-volt fans. DC brushless. Okay, so the stock Delta fans, this is the stock one. is 12 volts. So 12-volt fans are appropriate. Okay. I just wanted to make sure that I'm not like using very low voltage fans for whatever reason. So anybody following along, I think I should roll the dice on going with the 6K version, or should I try out the 15K version? That has to do with RPM. These are 14 to 15,000 RPM versus the 6,000 RPM. I do really like Noctua, but that whole explanation about the fans not spinning up makes complete sense if the low voltage current, sorry, the low amperage spin up is an issue. 15K is more likely going to be the louder option. Yes, absolutely. I mean, for what it's worth, we're talking about, $45 versus $35 on a Switch that I just paid $1,100 for. So, could buy both and send one back. That's true. That's true. You know what? Let's do that. Add to cart. And add to cart. And I'm going to complete. Whoop. Switch back to that. Complete my purchase off camera. Proceed to checkout. Place order. So it's estimated that those will arrive on Friday. Can't believe that it'll take a week for those to get here. That's really kind of sad. Okay. So yeah, I went ahead and got those. I do have to, however, remember that they are not a drop-in replacement. I don't want to blow them up. All right. Well, given my situation, this is as quiet as this is going to be. I'm sorry that you can't hear this right now. I'm going to very temporarily turn off the audio filtering so you can hear what I hear. All right, let me switch on monitoring on my desktop mic. I'm going to speech jam myself, so I'm going to slow down a little bit. check. All right, so I'm monitoring now. Please note that what you're about to hear is both my air conditioner and the switch. So this is raw. So this is me, and my voice and the fans are pretty much at the same level. It's rather loud. And just so you can see, I'm going to unplug the power from the switch so you'll understand how much quieter this room is without it. That's room tone with my air conditioner still on and compressing. Plug the switch back in. And that's a little louder than it was because it's still booting up. It boots and then it slows down just a little bit. But this is annoying. And it's going to be installed directly next to the TV in our family room downstairs. Yeah, not exactly on the special approval factor list. And I went ahead and reactivated the noise suppression. There we go. Sounds like a damn jet turbine. I'm just switching off the monitoring so I'm not speech jamming myself. There we go. Yeah, so is the switch good? Probably. We'll have to do some testing. I'm not really equipped for testing 10 gig things right now because the only things that I have that have 10 gig are my NAS and my desktop, the desktop that's running the stream. So I can't really unplug that right now easily and try that out. What I can do is get the management interface up and running on this thing and see if I can get in and see what the appropriate settings are and see if I can reduce fan noise. In fact, I'm going to go back to my desktop real quick and see if I can find either the manual or a guide to reducing fan noise, if that's a thing. There we go. Fan X28T. How it works. Where can I set the speed? My switch was so loudly when it working. Wow, this has got to be translated. Noctua A4X20 PWM was perfect for the slower switch. You tried them on the 728T, found some problems. Original fan was 3-pin, not 4-pin PWM. Does it change the speed by DC volts? Noctua's starting fan voltage was more higher than the original, 7 volt or higher. I want to know how to set the fan work on full speed to ensure Noctua can work. Wait, fan replacement options. Okay, that's the same article I was looking at a moment ago. This isn't even a PoE switch. I don't know why it runs so hot. No, not that one. It's running old 10 gig switch chips. They run hot. Newer switches are much better optimized. Yeah. Didn't think it would be this bad, though. I wonder if it would be better to just go ahead and return it. Another thing that I was considering. No, that's not it. Somebody linked me to another Switch that was similarly priced from Ubiquity. Just trying to find it. See if it would be a better replacement. Is that it? So this is an XG24 Switch. So this has 24 ports as well. The same number that I have on the Switch that I'm working with right now. So there's 24 10G based T ports. And then instead of SFP Plus like this one has, this one uses SFP28. So they're 25 gig connections. I think that can actually break out to 10 gig as well. But there's like some special adapter or whatever. So this might not be bad either. And looking at eBay, power draw per the reviews that I saw is about 100 watts for this Netgear switch if you max out all of the interfaces. All right, so this is the XG24. It's cheaper than what I paid for this one. Managed layer 3 switch. I don't know what this AR management thing is, but it's got 24 10G connectors. The downside is that I have to use the stupid Unify controller, which means spinning up another VM and controlling it with that. This one is a little jank. Screen's broken. This is a brand new one for 1100, which is what I spent on this switch. I don't run anything Ubiquiti right now, and I'm not against Ubiquiti as a company or as a technology set, but if you're only running one Ubiquiti thing, spinning up a cloud controller is annoying. And yeah, you can definitely do so in a Docker container. I'm familiar with that. I just don't have any of their equipment. Just to verify, so this is the switch that I bought. Spent $1,200 on it. And this Ubiquiti switch is $1,100. I'm really tempted. Is this a better idea? G24, is it stacking? Unify switch do not have a stacking port to make multiple Unify switches act as a single big switch. However, you can connect multiple Unify switches together using SFP, or just connect using the Ethernet ports, and also assign multiple Ethernet ports as lag, in a lag. What about MLAG? Ubiquiti is newer and probably a better idea. No idea the decibel level. Well, let's look at reviews. XG24, was it? Yeah. And to be clear, the Enterprise XG24 is not a standalone switch like Netgear. Let's see what they have to say. I'm pretty sure it's the cloud controller thing that they're talking about. We have having lots of issues with our Netgear 48T. It's actually the bigger brother of this. Connect to max at 10 gig. We're looking at other switch options considering the Enterprise XG24G. I've not seen much information or talk about it. Not a standalone switch like the Netgear Cisco or even the older 1G Ubiquiti Edge series. To configure the XG24G for things like lag, jumbo frames, flow control, you must be in the unified system with something like the Dream Machine Pro. Is that true though? I thought I could just run the cloud controller in a Docker container and be done, right? And there's the Netgear EM switch. Should be, but I don't have a switch to tell you. Yep, that makes sense. And these are still, I mean, they're new, but they're, you know, $2,000. I'm not willing to spend that much, although this is newer, does multi-gigabit, and is probably the option that Netgear would tell me to go buy.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to do some asking around as far as the Unify stuff, I guess. Unless somebody else provides a solid 24 port or greater switch in the around $1,000 neighborhood. Like I said, I don't mind used. If you have any suggestions, I'm certainly open to them. But I think I'm nearing the end of stream here. Done the unboxing that I wanted to do. I've checked some stuff out. I'm kind of leaning more toward canceling those fan orders and getting a different switch. I think that might suit me better. I wonder what return shipping on this is going to cost. Probably not nearly as much as the difference in cost of the Switch. The Ubiquity should also be NGB. Yes, it is. Multi-gigabit. It supports 100, 1, 2.5, 5, and 10. I did see that. I wonder what this weird LED screen does. Alright, so that just tells me what ports it has and a fancy render. So that's not terribly helpful. Way to go, Unify. Or Ubiquity. How to mount the Switch and make it look pretty. Tech spec. Alright, yeah, here, 100, 1, 2.5, 5, and 10. And 2 SFP28 ports for 25 gig. This is just so very disappointing. It is used for setup and gives info, so may have issues with the setup to set DHCP, though if it's already set to DHCP, then the controller should find and provision it. Yeah, that makes sense. Install guide. Really? I swear that Ubiquity is like the Apple of network gear. They're like, here's how to put it in a rack, and then they tell you to go download the software in order to provision it, instead of actually telling you in the manual like how to do the things. I may grab the Chinesium 8-port cheap 10 gigabit that served the hum showed off for my use. Yeah, I actually watched that video and read through it. It looks like a pretty good dirt cheap Switch and is exactly what I wanted like 3 weeks ago. But instead I went with the Zyzel 8 gig Switch. So this Zyzel switch is $549. The other switch hadn't like availed itself to me. I didn't know anything about it. So this is what I'm running currently. I really like this switch. It's a cheap and cheerful 10 gigabit switch with 8 ports and 2 SFP plus ports. It's everything that I wanted when I rolled things out. But then I decided to do this whole proxmox cluster thing, which requires all of the network interfaces. So I'm going to need 5 for Ceph, 5 for service, and then I'm actually going to do a separate 1 gig switch for management, plus my 2 NASs and 2 workstations. So that ends up like real quick needing all the ports. So 10 gigabit ports just for this new proxmox cluster. And that's buying at least 3 of those, either these that I'm looking at here on screen, or the cheaper ones that you were looking at for like 3 something. I think they're like 350 or whatever. So serve the home. Where is that cheap 10 gig switch? So Hazevo, and they're available. Where's the link to it? I kept commenting on their YouTube videos of the cheap 2.5 gig reviews that they have been putting out. I'm like, I need 10. Where's the 10? I don't want 2.5. 2.5 is too slow for a lot of things that I want to do. They put it on the last page for some reason. Yeah. Affiliate link. $245. Now that is some dirt cheap goodness. Of course, it's $75 shipping, so that's $245 plus 75, 12 is $320. All right, so that's probably where I got that 300 figure from. Yeah. The review that I saw of this 10 gig, this Netgear unit that I've been looking at here today in front of me, gave me way different numbers. So review Netgear XS728T. So this Tech Power Up review that I was reading previously. So this compares the switch that I have here, the XS728T, the one I just unboxed, to my Zyzel 1920, their 12-port switch, which is the same series as, no, it's not the same series. It's the switch that I have right now. No, it's in the same series. I'm sorry. The 12 is a PoE switch. The 10, which is what I have, is the non-PoE variant. But here, power consumption on the XS728T is 87 watts, and I was fine with that. That's with, I guess, 12 clients. The Zyzel switch is way more efficient, of course. But noise output, this is the part where I was looking at. So the Zyzel, they said 42 dBA, and this Netgear is 40 dBA. So that's what I was comparing it to. I'm like, the Zyzel switch is very quiet. That is already working in that room, and it's good. You hear it, but it's nothing like this. And that was fine. So I figured this being a little bit lower than that, but in the same range would be fine too. But this is
way louder than I would want it to be. It was by 2 gigabits, 2 8 ports for the 2x5 10 gigabits, and then a cheap 1 gig switch for the console, or cheap 1 gig switch. So the cheap 1 gig switch I already have. I was just planning on plugging that into one of the 10 gig switches and calling it a day. So that's the plan for that. I'm not going to waste 10 gig switch ports on 1 gig interfaces. In a perfect world, I should really be able to just plug in one dumb 1 gig switch for management and call it a day. I have several 8-port switches that are just laying around that are 1 gig dumb switches. So that's what I'll use for that. As far as 2 8-ports for the proxmox setup, I could. Would there be a problem with that? I mean, the biggest reason I have for going with a giant switch is for cost per port, and also switching a backplane. Because when you connect switches together, you're basically left at the mercy of whatever links you have between the switches. So, for example, if I connect my current 10 gig switch to this 10 gig switch, there's a 10 gig bottleneck. Whereas I can plug in up to the number of 10 gig ports that I have on my switch, and there won't be any bottleneck at all between those machines for simultaneous switching. Of course, you can overcome that by using lag to double up that connection between switches, which is what I was planning on doing. But doing so, you would still only get 20 gigabits of usable inter-switch connectivity, which is fine, but it would be sacrificing 2 ports. So then you get, 6 ports of actual use. So I would need basically 2 10 gig switches for this whole setup. 2 8-port 10 gig switches for this whole setup. And that wouldn't work either, because I would have to connect them to each other, and I would have to connect them to my existing 10 gig switch. Yeah, you're right. I can break off the Gluster stuff into its own switch. Doesn't have to be smart. I shouldn't need to access that from other machines. But I would still have to uplink the 2 8-port switches together. So let's see here. Just grabbing a notebook real quick and trying to figure out how that works from simple raw physical connection perspective. So 8-port switch, 8-port switch. So it would still burn 2 ports in order to do the uplink, but it would be doable. So I would have 6 ports on each of my 8-port switches. And then a separate 8-port switch for the Gluster set, which can be the cheap one, whatever. That's a lot of switches. I really just wanted to do this as a 24-port situation and call it a day. Cheap 24-port NG base T switch. And they're suggesting the 724EM, which is the $2,000 switch that I was looking at on eBay a little earlier. With this MikroTik switch, it's $500, 24 ports. It's 24 SFP ports, I think. That is so annoying. Yeah, 24 SFP ports. Dang it. Yeah, easier to have one big switch, easier to manage, easier to cable. It is more expensive, but how much more expensive is the question and the debate. Cost per port is really where that breaks down. And if the XG24 works for me, not this one, that is the dead one. This is a brand new X24 or XG24 for $1,100. There are additional management issues with this, as it would basically require me to run a controller Docker instance. I hope it doesn't force me to use another of their like routers or whatever. I don't like being locked into ecosystems. I mean, that's not really a lock, it's just a more of an annoyance. There has to be somebody other than Ubiquiti offering a good quality multi-gigabit 24-port switch for in that range. Sorry, I was on the wrong desktop here. So XG24 $1,100. Also have to include cost of headaches in there. Yeah. Yeah, this is annoying. Like, if I'm not going to return it because I really do like it and I'm okay with the price that I paid for the Zyxel switch. But if I saw this a couple of weeks ago, then I probably would have gone with this. If I need PoE down the line, I might end up picking one of these up. I don't have anything PoE, so that's fine. But this does come in a PoE variant that's cheap. But beyond that, yeah. There should be, hopefully within these cheaper chips and the advent of the Chinesium coming out, hopefully it will be pushing more companies to go cheaper and faster. Yeah, I was thinking of driving my PoE APs off of one.
Yep. So I don't have anything that does any PoE at the moment. I have been thinking a little bit about an AP upgrade. I'm currently using a Netgear REX 80 as a centralized AP. So I basically use this in AP mode, so it's not doing any sort of routing. Wow, their webpage is not great. It should be showing me the picture of that there. I mean, it looks basically like that. Yeah, I just keep this in the lab. I have a small, relatively small place. It's 8-stream dual band Wi-Fi 6, not 6E, 6. It still supports 40 millimeter wide, 40 megahertz wide bands. So I'm able to do up to 2.4 gigabit links, which is pretty decent when I'm here in the room. Understatement? Oh, about the site sucking. Yeah. But so this is a consumer router, but I really don't mind it. I'm not using the app. It sucks. I would rather just use the configuration webpage. This is what that looks like. It's pretty standard configuration interface. Not a big deal. It was relatively expensive when I bought it, though. That was a couple of years ago, though. Yeah, it's about right, 370-ish. It was not a super cheap investment as far as APs go. I have been looking at the Ubiquiti stuff specifically because the Ubiquiti APs are really well reviewed for the Wi-Fi 6E stuff. Not routers. Yeah, Edge Link. Extender, CP Link. Yeah, Unify U6 Enterprise. So this is what most people are telling me to buy for Wi-Fi 6E. That might be something for next year. So I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap up for this evening. So today I went ahead and unboxed the new, the used Dell optiplexes that I will be using for my 5-node proxmox cluster. I will be installing some 2 terabyte M.2 drives in them. I will be installing 64 gigs of RAM in each one and installing some dual port 10 gig network cards in them. That should prove to be a really nice little cluster. As far as network switch is concerned, I am very disappointed in the noise that my Netgear Switch is making. I did some research as far as trying to find a way to quiet those fans. I can replace them with some stuff that I already ordered, but I'm having second thoughts on. Pretty sure I'm going to be canceling my order later this evening, and simply returning the Switch, and buying something else that suits me a little bit better. The noise that this thing makes is just unacceptable to me. As a Switch, I like its look. It does everything that I should need it to do for my application. It's just too damn loud. So yeah, I'm super unhappy about that. But c'est la vie. Not a whole lot that I can do at this point other than either modify it or return it. People who have modified theirs from the research that we did tonight seem to be pretty happy about it, and they still maintain its temperatures, and things seem to be okay with it. But for that much money, for the $1,100 that I spent on this thing, I just wanted it to work. That's a lot of money, and I don't really want to modify it because then it would void its warranty. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. The Unify Switch is looking like the best option, but I want to try to find some other options before moving forward. I'm kind of disappointed because when those network cards get here, I just kind of wanted to throw them in there and start installing proxmox and getting going with this project, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. What else? Yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Please, if anybody is here and lurking and likes the kind of content that you see here tonight, doing proxmox cluster work, doing computer repair style work, messing around with networking gear, I will be doing some streaming about getting all of the VLANs set up, the networking properly configured, proxmox installed and clustered correctly, getting Ceph set up. So if you're interested in hearing about all of that stuff, please go ahead and give me a follow, and go ahead and follow me over on Discord as well. Tell me about what projects that you're working on. I'm always interested in hearing about that. And talking about what other people are doing, because that's super cool stuff. Otherwise, like I said, I'm Josh, also known as Cpgeek. I do a lot of nerdy stuff, including the tech stuff that you saw here tonight, as well as gaming, virtual reality, retro gaming, arcade gaming, computer builds, all kinds of fun stuff. So go ahead and get subscribed. You can also find me over at Cpgeek.org. You may have seen that flash through a few times, and that's where you can find all my socials if you're interested in following me over there. Otherwise, thank you very much for tuning in. It has been awesome. And now let's look for somebody to raid real quick. Just looking at my list here, seeing who is available. Oh, good. Zombie Hedgehog is on and streaming. Usually at this point, I would be rating Incredible Waddy, because she does awesome stuff on a regular basis on Saturday nights. This is not my usual time slot. I usually do Sunday nights. But here I am. Oh, and it looks like Zombie Hedgehog is on doing some stuff. So let's read on over to Zombie Hedgehog. He is an amazing 3D printer streamer, very personable. He builds printers. He shows off 3D prints, how to make stuff better. Thank you very much, Eric. So let's go ahead and read on over there. And see what he is up to tonight.
Where is my raid button? There is my raid button. We want to raid Zombie Hedgehog, who is doing makers and crafting. So we're going to go on over there now. And thank you very much for hanging out with me tonight. And I look forward to seeing you next time. I will probably be doing a stream tomorrow evening. Usually around somewhere between 9 and 11 p.m. Eastern is usually when I go live on Sundays. That's my usual time slot. Please look in the Discord for announcements when I go live. I definitely put them there, or if you want to follow, you'll get those notifications as well. But for now, we're going to go ahead and raid on over to Zombie Hedgehog, and everybody have a great night. Here we go.